so far. And most of you know me, right? I'm Akeem Leonard, owner of Greencrete BVI, concrete and recycled glass products. And I'll just give you a brief rundown of how this meeting came together. I won a competition back in February, BVI Best Pitch, and part of the winnings was a 1-week internship and business development in Colorado, Fort Collins. While there, my great host Sharice introduced me to Caitlin, who works for the PACS department, and we spoke for a while, and she said some very interesting things. And one of the things that I learned about her was that under her supervision and her lead, the department increased their waste diversion from 3% to 30% in just 3 years. And I think that's something that's very significant, and we can learn a lot from her to see what we can do here to increase and improve our recycling efforts in the BVI. So today, we wouldn't stay too long. I want to get to the root of it, but right now, I'll let Department of Waste Management just say what they're doing here in the BVI for waste.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I think we're pretty good.
That's someone to record.
Oh, okay.
Mic isn't on. Let me go activate it on.
Can you guys hear me? There we go.
Yeah.
Good morning again, everyone. My name is Karina Carrere, and I work at the Department of Waste Management as the Acting Senior Executive Officer. Now, the Department of Waste Management continues to support recycling by practicing waste diversion habits. Waste diversion is vital to recycling because it reduces the amount of waste that's being processed as well as the amount of waste that enters the landfill. In the past, when items such as glass enters the incinerator, it would destroy the refractory. The refractory is a clay-like material that lines the inside of the incinerator to protect the metal casing from the harsh temperatures. The replacement of the refractory can be very costly and time-consuming. Therefore, waste diversion has also aided in sustaining the life of the incinerator. Currently in Just Dyke, we have a facility that's called a transfer station. At this transfer station, waste is sorted. It's sorted into bulky waste materials and yard waste. It's also sorted in bulky metal. There's glass and aluminum cans. We also store waste oil, and the other waste is being compacted. In the past, Just Dyke used to use a landfill, which was very hazardous, and it produced a lot of flies. So with the garbage being compacted, it reduces the amount of flies that's being populated. Currently, right now, we have a restaurant that's called Sabidala that is a big supporter of the transport station. All year round, they provide large amounts of glass to the facility. Once the bins are filled, they're taken to the incinerator in Pocket Pond, where they're stored until they're ready to be transferred to Virgin Gorda. Also at the incinerator, we have a bin where persons in the community can bring their glass and empty it in. Once the bins are filled, they're taken to Virgin Gorda to Miss Julie Swartz, who is the owner of Green and Clean VI, and there she processes the glass for us. About 2 weeks ago, we transported two 20-yard roll-on, roll-off bins to Virgin Gorda. They both totaled about 9 tons of glass. She was also storing some plastics, so once the bins were empty, we were able to bring over some plastics. There's a business that's called BVI Plastics that's owned by Kerry Wright. Right now she will be taking care of the plastics there. So we have glass, we have plastics that's being recycled. For many years, we also had the derelict vehicle program that we have been promoting, where we would have officers go and place notices on derelict vehicles, and once those vehicles, the notices has expired, we would arrange for a rec operator to take them to our derelict site in Seagulls Bay. Once the vehicles are collected, they're then crushed and baled to be transported to Puerto Rico to be recycled. So we have glass, plastics, and metal. We also started distributing recycling bins to Virgin Gorda, where persons are able to sort their waste when they are finished with whether it be a bottle, styrofoam, or their food waste. So we also brought that to Tortola, where Altus Catholic School has started the program as well. So we have been trying to promote recycling, and we encourage anybody or any private entities or recyclers that they can come on board, and once they provide our proposal to our department, we'll try our best to see how best we can facilitate them. So that is what the department is doing, and we hope that we can continue in the future to do more recycling in the BVI. Thank you.
So next we'll hear from Sally Ann Riley of BVI BVI and Green BVI and how recycling plays a part with mosquito eradication.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sally Ann Riley again. I represent this morning Green BVI, which is the umbrella organization for Bug Out, which is tasked with the responsibility basically of mosquito eradication in, specifically right now in Virgin Gorda, where we're running a pilot project. I recently started with them. I'm a baby. I started in March. But what we have been doing there is using science, first of all, using our very small vector control team to go around and deal with the mosquito larvae, well, deal with mosquitoes at their baby stages first, in terms of eradicating them first, as opposed to dealing with them at the adult stages. We've also been doing a lot of education in the schools. Every single school on Virgin Gorda we have already visited and done presentations to them in terms of mosquito eradication and in terms of recycling. Now, in terms of the relationship between the two, I just want to show you this container. Just one plastic bottle. This could represent a plastic bottle, an aluminum can. It has in it about a teaspoon of water. Now, in this teaspoon of water, just to give you a little bit of information about mosquitoes, we could actually breed 200 mosquito larvae in just this amount of water. Any vessel is a potential mosquito breeding site. If we remove this from our waste stream by recycling, hopefully, then we can make it into something, obviously into something else. Leave it there, it becomes a vessel in which mosquitoes can breed. So that's why a few months ago, a relationship was started between the two organizations where we would form this strategic partnership in order that we together could actually start to improve on the environmental situation in Virgin Gorda for the sake of the entire community. In terms of mosquitoes obviously they are a nuisance, but more importantly they carry very, very dangerous diseases. You know a lot of them: chikungunya, dengue. The obvious advantages to this relationship will be to, as I said before, in terms of the environmental impact and the health for the environment, and in terms of the recycling, to reduce the the open air burning and the associated diseases that are associated with open air burning in Virgin Gorda as well. The project right now it has been in existence for quite some time. The unrolling of it is relatively recent, and in that respect, it is a fledgling. It is quite fledgling, but we have been seeing quite a bit of success so far, and we're very enthusiastic about what we're seeing so far. But for instance, I don't know if you've had the benefit of seeing the public service announcement on television. We've recently finished a public service announcement that has been hosted on some of the local television channels. I don't know if anybody knows about the 3 C's. Has anybody heard about the 3 C's in Buggle? Anyone? By raise of hands, if anybody knows.
I know.
Okay. Okay, 2 perfect. Okay, our 3 C's are kind of a parallel to the 3 R's in recycling. The 3 C's being cover up, clean up, and communicate. Tell everyone what you know, what you've heard. Communicate any information that you know, because I personally believe, and our team believes, that only through communication, through teamwork, through sharing, that we're ever going to be able to make any progress with any project as human beings. In terms of the recycling, we've got the 3 R's. Everyone knows the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. So we've got our 3 C's to mirror the 3 R's as well. So what we're attempting to do is to empower the Virgin Gorda community through education, that the onus is on each and every one of us to improve our environment and the health for each and every one of us. It is in every one of our, it is in our power to do this. It is absolutely essential that we do it. That's all that I have to say today, really. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, we'll get to the main speaker right now. It's Caitlin May of Fort Collins. Caitlin May.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. So I want to introduce myself. My name is Caitlin May, and I kind of play 2 roles. I work as the City of Fort Collins Park Department's Sustainability Coordinator, and I'm also an MBA student at Colorado State University. You guys met Chris and Asina when you came in. So we're in a group of 3 people, and we came down here to Vivian to really kind of look and dive into waste diversion. We want to learn more from it. We want to share our knowledge. So we really appreciate you guys having us here today. So thank you very much. Just take a moment and read this and tell me what your thoughts are. Has anybody ever heard the concept that, oh, well, climate change doesn't exist? The globe is not warming up. Seas are not rising. But realistically, if we tackled and we made the earth and our world a better place, wouldn't that be a good thing? So I'm not sure if anyone has really gotten a chance to dive into some of the different variations that we've been seeing with our climate. So right now, the dark squiggly line here in the front shows what our projection has been at the moment for emissions. And we're kind of at this crossing point. We can either continue on the path we are on right now, which is in red, or we can find ways of cutting our emissions and tackling our CO2 production and find ways to kind of try to curtail it a little bit and not have as many issues when it comes to the mid-century of 2050, 2000. So our Earth itself, we are looking at right now, there's going to be a change. A couple degrees, it's going to make a big difference, but it depends on how much of a difference we actually want it to make. So right now, we are projected for the low emissions to still have a global mean warming of about 2 degrees Celsius That comes out to anywhere between 5 to 11 degrees Fahrenheit on the higher end. Arctic's warming up, and we're looking at a lot of issues. So to talk about some ways to tackle it, the City of Fort Collins is focused on creating 2 different programs. One of them is our Climate Action Plan. We're really focused on local level. We understand that some things in the United States have maybe changed a little bit. We ended up backing out of the Paris Agreement, but we have not actually changed our focus and what our goals are. So we ended up setting a carbon neutrality goal by 2050, and we have thresholds on what we're going to try to meet. We're focusing on waste diversion, reducing our electricity, changing over from gas and coal over to renewable resources like wind and solar. And a big part of that too is looking at solid waste reduction. How can we reduce our impact on our landfill that is creating methane and emitting emissions? How can we find ways of curtailing them? Our second plan that we ended up creating, and this was back in 1999, was our Road to Zero Waste. And what that is we're going to try to be a zero waste community by 2030. With that, we have instrument goals of 75% waste reduction by 2020 and 90% waste reduction by 2025. Right now, the City of Fort Collins, we're at about 69% waste diversion, which is pretty fantastic. And this year, we've been focusing on putting in a curbside pickup for yard debris. So now people have their trash bin, they have their single stream recycling bin, which will take the glass and the aluminum and the paper. Now we have a third bin that will take yard debris. And we found that there's about 75% of the items that make their way to the landfill have a way of being recycled, and a lot of that is organic material. So that's been kind of this big overarching goal that we've tried to accomplish, and I'm really excited to say we're moving in that direction this year. So I want to share with you guys really on the ground floor what an individual can do and what a small team that have these expiring goals can help achieve. So when I started off with the City of Fort Collins, it was 5 years ago, and I started off being a horticulturist. This was the first time I ever worked for the City of Fort Collins, and I had worked for different government agencies before in the past, and it was really exciting to come in and see this culture of people who wanted to make a difference. But there was always something lacking. When I'd go out in the parks, we didn't have recycling bins. So you'd see all these kids coming in, they'd be playing baseball, they'd have all their Gatorade bottles, and we were constantly picking up trash that was just full of plastic, full of aluminum cans. And there was something in my brain that just said, this isn't right. So I ended up working with the manager of the Parks Department, and we created the Sustainability Committee and a team in my position. So I want to talk to you guys about some goals that we've set, and basically what we determined was needed was infrastructure. Now when I say infrastructure, I mean bins. We had about 500 trash bins throughout the Parks Department, and we're a city, but we're not that big of a city. Barely any recycling bins. So what we ended up strategically doing is we got a group of minds together, and we said, how can we accomplish our goals? So we ended up reducing the number of trash bins we had by about 20%. We reused those trash bins and we painted them blue. Then we ended up purchasing about 500 cans, and you can see, hopefully the picture's showing up. This has always been our 50-gallon trash bins. We ended up matching every single trash bin now with the recycling bin. And these bins not only have the logos on the front so people can identify them as recycling bins, but the lids say exactly what goes in there. Paper, cardboard, glass, aluminum, plastic. Trying to make it real simple and outline for people. Next step was figuring out a way of handling all the miscellaneous waste that was coming into the park shops. So we created recycling rows. And basically this was an easy drive up to where somebody brings in their vehicle that had been out in the field collecting trash and debris all day, and they have a one-stop shop to be able to put everything that they're going to find in the back of their truck into these bins. So aluminum recycling, electronic waste, bulky plastics, cardboard, asphalt, concrete, you name it, anything that we have been able to figure out how to recycle, we have in our recycling row. Part of this too is signage. We have turnover of employees. We have individuals who maybe come in from different islands, different locations. People don't know exactly how to recycle. We try to make it very simple so everything is there for them. Plus, we have champions in every department that are educated and knowledgeable on the recycling rows. So a new employee can come up and ask them, hey, what am I supposed to do with my wood? They can walk out there and go take a look at it. What is acceptable and what isn't. Also, that makes our jobs easier, you guys. We know that this material needs to be able to be profitable in some way. So the less contaminated and the cleaner it is, the less amount of hands that have to touch it, makes our jobs easier, and we can get more money from the products themselves. This is another picture of the end of the recycling row where we have the yard debris, the tree limbs, the concrete, and this also makes it a lot easier because we can get one of our front end loaders in there, load it up into a dump truck, so it's less hands having to touch the material. I'm very excited to say, so part of our rollout for the composting is actually, what do we do with all this yard debris now? So we are actively composting. We're projecting about 500 tons of yard debris just internally for our city departments now at our crushing facility. And what this entailed was purchasing a turner. We already had a screener on site, so we were able to reuse that. And we now have our little John Deere tractor that pulls the turner over the piles. The piles actively get turned, and within about 8 to 10 weeks, we have taken yard debris, leaves, grass clippings, chunks of wood, things like that, and we've turned it into finished humus compost. Now, let's just get a show of hands. Who composts at home? Okay, we got a couple people. So think about that. If you guys ever wanted to kind of learn how to compost, talk to your neighbors, talk to the people who raise their hands. But this is a little bit different than backyard composting. This is active composting, and the amount of material that we're going to be getting as finished compost is going to be about 250 tons. We are using that all back in the Parks Department, and we are top dressing all of our turf fields and our ballparks and our soccer fields to not only help improve the soil substrate, but it's going to reduce the amount of water that we need to put on those fields. It's going to reduce the amount of pesticides that not only we have to put on the fields, but that the children are getting exposed to when they're playing soccer, when they're playing baseball. So really, it's this big picture. Not only is this beneficial for us, but it's also beneficial for our community. So recycling glass stations. This was one of my pet projects that I'm very excited about. We had a company in Denver, so it's about an hour away from us, come up to us and say, hey, we're starting up a business, we need glass. And at the moment, there have been a couple other glass companies around, but nobody who came up with this innovative, creative idea on how to actually start collecting glass out of single stream. So for anybody who isn't aware, in Colorado, our single stream accepts glass. But that glass, by the time it gets down to the MRF, which is the material recycling facility down in Denver, it is broken up, it's contaminated with food scraps, it's contaminated with metal, and there wasn't a great option on how to keep it out of single stream. So people were putting it in there. Now, throughout our community, we have 10 to 15 of these recycling stations set up at grocery stores, set up at schools, places where people are constantly bringing with their vehicles. And our goal is to encourage people to, hey, you want to make that extra step, you want to do something a little bit more for your community, take your glass out of single stream and put it in here. And want to show you guys, I'm not sure if that bin shows up real well, but these bins came from Bush Systems, and Bush Systems is a recycling company similar to Rubbermaid that makes bins. And we were able to approach them, and we asked them to donate bins to our GSSE MBA program, and we were able to get 300 bins, which are being delivered, I think, tomorrow down here to Virgin Gorda. So really excited about that. And Akeem's going to talk a little bit more about that project, but this is just kind of a sneak peek. So like I was saying, the glass stations, another big important thing that we found is we can do these initiatives, we can set up things like this, but if the community doesn't participate and if the community is unaware, it's never going to work. So with Clear Intentions, they have a virtual map that shows all throughout the entire state of Colorado where their glass stations are. And this image shows you the city of Fort Collins, basically our surrounding boundary. And these are all of the locations where the glass stations are. So you can see how strategically they're placed all around town. They're made accessible, the educational materials on there to make it just as simple as possible. So the recycling drop-off facility, this is something that I've found is extremely important in almost every community. And it's the idea of, you guys have material that you want to be recycled, give people an outlet where to actually recycle it. Have dumpsters there that people can put the material in, they sort it themselves, so there's not a lot of labor that's needed up front. But then you guys have single sorted material. It can be for glass, it can be for metal, it can be for plastics. But give people a location, a one-stop shop where they can come and deliver their materials. So something that's really exciting, we have people throughout Colorado who don't have access to recycling. And we have people up in some of the hill country around us that they'll travel 45 minutes. When they come down and do their big grocery shopping, they'll also come hit up the recycling facility and offload all their recyclable materials. So it really takes a community to get behind something, but it is achievable. So step 2, participation and outreach. So without people buying into it, you're never going to get that cultural change. 3 years ago when I started on sustainability, I felt like I kept hitting this wall. And it was people who just didn't want to hear the new ideas. But it wasn't that they didn't want to hear the new ideas, it just was a little scary. Nobody likes change. You know, we get into our grooves and our kind of routines, and that's comfortable for us. But who says that they can't be comfortable with sustainability? Who says that they can't be comfortable with recycling? So it takes initiative, it takes collaboration, and it takes teamwork to achieve great things. So we found that connecting with our community, connecting with our employees are very important. So one of the things that the City of Fort Collins Parks Department focuses strongly on is employee engagement, training. So every year we have training for our employees when they come in and we get people set up. They get showed how to use recycling work. We talk about our culture of sustainability. We talk about how this is important, and not only is this helping make the community safer and healthier, but this is an opportunity that we're providing you. So one of the great things is with our recycling rows, we let our employees bring all their material in from home. If it doesn't cost us money to recycle, we're giving them the opportunity to actually have an outlet of where to put this material. And people take pride in that. And that's what we find is important. Also signage. People don't want to read a bunch of stuff. And what we figured out is having a quick visual sign on knowing what material can go into what bin has really benefited and has increased the amount of material that is getting recycled. We ended up having a group of employees that started brainstorming ideas on what would be beneficial to have. What are we not offering you that you guys want? And they said, we want to compost our food scraps. We don't want to do it at home, but we want a place at work to compost our food scraps. So we set up in all the kitchens our little compost bins that are on the sinks to collect food waste from lunches and things like that. And then employees also have a location in town that they were able to buy these little compostable jugs. They're about 2 gallons. And now at every single park shop, and we have 4 of them in town, our employees can bring their compost in from home. They toss it in the bin, and now they can actually take that compost when it's finished back home and put it back in their gardens. So these are people who might live in condos or apartments that don't necessarily have access to gardening or have a lawn, but they still might have pots and plants, or they want a herb garden in their house. Now they can add compost back into their planters. Zero waste events. So if we're gonna talk the talk, we gotta walk the walk, right? We've ended up creating all of our events where we serve food for the City of Fort Collins are now all zero waste. And I'm really excited to say, so this was one of our parties last year. We host about 1,000 to 1,500 city employees on a yearly picnic. We come into one of our big parks, we let the kids go to the pool, we have music, we have food. We ended up creating it as a zero waste event for the last 2 years, and I'm proud to say, so this is the team and I that ended up doing it. You see that little bag that he's holding on his pinky? That weighed 2 pounds. That is all the trash that we had for 1,500 people. But we aren't stopping there. When employees came in and when I started 3 years ago, we were throwing out thousands and thousands of cups that people would use for a one-time use for coffee. Not only was that costing us money, it was costing taxpayers money. So what did we figure out? Let's get our employees reusable coffee mugs. So not only can they bring it in from home if they have coffee at the house, but they can fill it up when they get to the shop. And then also it's safer, instead of them having a cup that might fall over or tip over in the car, it's safer for when they're going around. And we get some cold days. I know that some people might not really think about, okay, well, coffee throughout the day. When it is 0 degrees out and you are freezing, a nice warm cup of coffee when you come back to the car is pretty awesome. Plus, creature comforts. So, we also ended up going after water bottles. So now every employee doesn't have an excuse. They've been given 2 different cups, and we no longer supply them. And the idea too is if you don't have them there, people kind of forget that they're missing out on them. So, you know, ideas of stop offering people plastic straws, or for to-go containers. You know, maybe let's switch away from styrofoam and go into paper products. Things that can be composted, that aren't going to hurt the fish, that aren't going to hurt your waterways. So, to kind of talk about the triple bottom line, every business needs to understand that it's not just an environmental aspect of what we're trying to achieve. There's a social and economic aspect too. And being sustainable, waste diversion, recycling, can be profitable. So this shows you a little bit for our metal recycling. We ended up earning in 1 year $151,000 by recycling aluminum, brass, copper, asphalt, concrete, even our toilet recycling. We make a lot of money off of that. So we allow people an opportunity to bring in that material from home. We crush it up on site and then we sell the material back. And our crushing operation is pretty fantastic. But it's also showing you all of the CO2 that we've been able to reduce because that material is not ending up in our landfill. And then also the social benefits from community interaction to increasing safety throughout our working place, things like that. So step 3, really in order to kind of replicate and show people the benefits, you need to have the data to back it up. You need people to get inspired and be innovative, so when you have hard problems to tackle, they have the freedom and the knowledge that their ideas aren't going to get put down to the side. All ideas are welcome, and it takes a collective to make progress. So this shows you the tracking. Akeem ended up mentioning it a little bit. So when I started in 2014, we were at 3% waste diversion for the Parks Department. Adding in the recycling roads, adding in the 500 recycling cans throughout the city, things like that, we've been able to increase our waste diversion by 30%. So right now, in order for us to align ourselves with the city to be zero waste by 2030, we have a lot to try to accomplish, but we're definitely moving in the right direction. Comes down to innovation. Thinking outside of the box. Just because it didn't work in one place doesn't mean it might not work here. Or, you know, the Department of Waste Management. We need people coming in, and same for the city of Fort Collins, that have these inspiring ideas that come and say in the pitch, hey, I have a way of being able to compost. Let's try out a pilot project. Or, hey, I have this idea of ways of reducing our electricity usage and going into wind or solar power. Those are the kind of things that we really need to foster and let people get inspired about. To be the kind of leader that you would follow. We need leaders to take action. We need leaders to help people realize that yes, their dreams can be met. And not everybody wants to be a leader, but that doesn't mean that we just need one voice throughout our areas and our communities. We have lots of different leaders throughout the city of Fort Collins, and it takes all of our minds to get put together to really find some of these exciting ways of tackling our waste and energy issues. So collaboration, I'm going to kind of wrap it up a little bit here. So one of the programs that we have with the city of Fort Collins is a business empowerment group. And it's focused on programs that help the businesses tackle kind of modern day challenges dealing with the environment. So it's this collective that started in 1999, businesses who all kind of had this same environmental focus. And now this is built up to about 300 businesses throughout the city of Fort Collins that all are tackling sustainable issues in different ways. And the city is more there to help foster this, and it's really the businesses are the ones who have tackled the problems. We have badges, we have celebrations, we allow people to have forums to come and talk, but really it's the businesses who have determined, hey, I have this issue, hey, you're dealing with this, right? How can you maybe help me accomplish coming in and retrofitting my building for better lighting? Or hey, I need help composting. How do we do it? And it's this collaboration, it's the colliding of the heads to come up with the best idea has really kind of helped our community showcase some of these amazing things that we've done. So once again, our team and I, we're here from Colorado State University. We're traveling around the Caribbean for the next month and a half, and our goal is looking to partner and collaborate with groups here, not only in BVI, but throughout the Caribbean to really dive in and say, how can we help solve this waste issue? Thank you so much. So we have a